family, thank you for watching another beautiful edition of Annie's channel. In today's channel, I'm going to be talking about a very sensitive topic known as divorce. My people will call it divorce. It's all good, okay? So this divorce of a teen keeps on increasing at a very speedy rate. And what can we do at this time of end time? And what are the major causes of divorce? Again, nobody can boldly say, oh, I'm immune to divorce. I cannot have divorce. It's never going to happen to me. It's uncertain because it's happening all around, even in the Christendom, in the social life, everywhere. People are having divorce, even people you don't even expect. Before you know it, they have already concluded. So what are the major causes of divorce in marriages today? Let's have a discussion. Guys, welcome back. I'm a Christian, okay? So I'm gonna be quoting first of all from the Bible. I'm gonna read from my script. So Mark 10:7-9 says that for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man put separate. Okay? So, again, in other words, what is marriage? What exactly is marriage? I would say marriage is the legally and formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. If you look at it in a religious way, you will say that it is a moral or legal commitment between a man and a woman. That's husband and wife. In other words, it's a public demonstration of a couple's commitment in a convenient relationship. Okay? So what is divorce? So divorce is the process of terminating a marriage or marital union. That is the dissolving the bond of matrimony between a married couple under the rule of law of their marriage, whatever rule of law they have. Okay, so again, let's think about what are the ways that people get married. I will say maybe like three of them, three well-known ones. Okay, traditional customary marriage, that's according to your tradition and culture. People can get married that way and it's legally recognized. Another way people can get married is in the church or Islam. So it depends on your religion. So in the Islamic religion or Christendom, you can get married that way too. Then the third one, which is the most common one these days, is the statutory or the civil marriage. That's the one you go to the court of law and you take your vows and sign some documents, okay? So what are the reasons why marriages are ending in divorce? So first of all, I'm married, okay? So I've been married for 26 years, okay? And I will tell you that marriage is work, a lot of work. So don't look at some people and say, oh, their marriage is made from heaven, da, 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 da. It's a lot of work. People have put in their best to make it work. Then sometimes there are times you can put in even your best, still it doesn't work, okay? So what are the most common causes of divorce? In no order of priority, I would say lack of commitment. You know, sometimes there are people who jump into marriage without being committed to one another. They're looking at their benefits. They're looking at where that person is living. Oh, I'm going abroad. Oh, this person is living in this neighborhood. Oh, this person is going to get me out of poverty, without actually committing to that person that is marrying them. That means that marriage is more like contract marriage. That marriage, there is no love. In that marriage, there is no respect. There is no commitment of any type, okay? People jump into it just to have a status, okay? Just to be called married person, or maybe just to live under a roof with a man, or even just to have children. Maybe their biological clock is ticking and they just want to have children. So they jump into marriage without even committing to that person or loving that person, or maybe their parents want them to marry. They'll just marry and get it out of their way. So when they can no longer hide themselves or hold it, they end up in divorce, okay? Or maybe when they feel like they have gotten what they wanted, they just want to get out. Number two, infidelity or extramarital affairs. Some people are not, again, it goes back to commitment. If you committed to somebody, you cannot cheat on that person. That means you focus on that person. And there are so many ways that some people can have extramarital affairs. It doesn't have to be physically. It can be in so many ways that people can be doing certain things they are not supposed to be doing when they are married, or relating to some people, mainly opposite sex, in so many intimate ways they are not supposed to. So when this is happening and the other person happen to be in the knowing of it, this can lead to divorce, okay? Nobody wants to be married to somebody who is all over the world, okay? Sleeping with everybody that comes their way, or getting entangled with anybody that comes their way, okay? So in this case, it's not a good thing, and this can easily lead to divorce. If the people can go to counseling and they can get over it, that's okay. But again, it's ground for divorce according to the Bible. So even the Bible told us that we can do that in Matthew 19:7-9. The Bible say that we can divorce based on the grounds of infidelity, okay? All right, so number three, lack of physical or emotional intimacy. That means sometimes you hear people saying that they're divorcing based on irreconcilable differences, or maybe the character of the person is not what they thought it was supposed to be. So lack of physical or emotional intimacy. You see people that are married though, but there is nothing showing that they are married. They don't walk together. They don't sleep in the same bedroom. They don't have any common goal. They are not even raising their children based on common principle, or even worshiping the same church, or even there's nothing showing that these people are married. You can see them touching each other. You can see them sitting close to each other. You can see them kissing each other. You can see them hugging each other. You can even hear "I love you" from one of them to the other. So they are physically apart, they are emotionally apart. Then why are they together? It's a stressful relationship, and at some point one of them is going to want to be out of that relationship, because sometimes when that is happening, probably one of them has a relationship that he or she is cherishing outside the marriage, and again these two people keeps on growing apart. Divorce sometimes becomes inevitable. Number four, financial difficulties or financial slavery or even greed, okay? Some people want to marry somebody because they want financial freedom, or because they think this person is going to be the messiah to their family. This person has money, they want this, they want that. Too much demand in marriage can put people apart, okay? Then again, when people see that the money is not coming the way it's supposed to come in a relationship, instead of them sitting together, having a plan and managing what their resources is at that time, they start living above their means, and that can easily break up a relationship. You can see people committing themselves into a house that is thousands of dollars, and they know their income is way below that amount. That's greed. You know you cannot afford it. And this type of people ends up living at work because they are working day and night to be able to catch up with their financial demand. That is not right. Cut your coat according to your size, please. Cut your coat according to your size, because when you start working too much, you're growing apart in your relationship, and that relationship suffers. At the end of the day, that person is at work. That person that is at work might start developing interest with somebody else that he or she is seeing more often at work, and that puts a lot of pressure, even when that is not happening. But again, you don't have that time to build your own relationship at home. So financial difficulties, slavery, or greed have put that marriage in jeopardy. Number 5, physical distance. Not just long distance marriages, somebody living in another country or another state or another location can also be a pressure to to marriage. Okay, then people can be in close distance, in one house, but they're still living in a way that they seem to be in a very different location. Again, this affects communication. Okay, so communication is very important. If you're living in that close proximity and there's no communication, that's physical distance. If you're living far away, please communicate. Have a timeline. Let your spouse know what is going on, and that can also keep that person at peace, and the marriage will continue. Then, number 6, domestic violence. It can be verbal, physical, or emotional. That's a no-no. If you're beating your spouse, yes, before people used to think that it's only the man that is beating the woman. Now, some women are beating their husbands. So, if that is happening, please, you got to stop. If it doesn't stop, it can lead to divorce. So physical violence, emotional violence, or verbal abuse, all those things are just leading to divorce. They can easily lead to divorce, and that needs to be stopped. Okay, cultural shift or loss of cultural values. Okay, especially for some of us that have traveled overseas, we come here, we lose everything we know about culture. We want to be Americanized overnight, and we are doing all these things, dressing in skimpy outfits, exposing what we are not supposed to be exposing. And sometimes we think our husbands are liking it. Sometimes they are not. They are just agreeing so that the peace will reign. So again, we need to remember that we came from somewhere, and there's a culture we have come with, and we need to, in a way, impart our children with this our culture. Do not forget who you are, please. No matter how much money that is around you, or the environment, or the exposure, never forget who you are. Never. Keep some values, cultural values to yourself, and let that be your yardstick and guide in so many things you do. All right, so misrepresentation of self, that's number 8. And also social status. Sometimes, again, this comes to people who go back home to marry. They go there and they're living this flamboyant life. They're spending. And at the end of the day, they don't even have this money they're spending. They are barely surviving. So do not misrepresent yourself. That's deception. If you bring that lady into your house and the lady finds out that what you have been showcasing, you do not have it, you might have problem with that lady right away. Or if you bring a man and that man finds that what you were showcasing doesn't exist, that might cause problem right away. And even within Nigeria, and you don't have a car, you're borrowing a car, you're renting a car to go and to impress a girl. At the end of the day, this girl finds out you don't have that car, you don't have all these things you have been showcasing. That's deception, and deception can lead to divorce. Okay, number 9, unwelcome interference. This can be family members, this can be lack of child, infertility. This will be unwelcome interference, things you didn't expect. It happens in marriage, and sometimes if couples don't hold onto their faith or don't hold onto their love and commitment, that can easily lead to divorce. Then parents interfering with your marriage. They come in and they start telling you what to do, what not to do, or how to treat your spouse. Please, don't let parents do that to you. Let every commitment be between you and your spouse. Yes, your parents can advise you sometimes, but don't let their advice be your primary foundation, especially when it's negative or wrong advice. I have seen some people advising their children to start building, especially the women, to start building their families, building houses in their father's compound, instead of working hand in hand with their husbands to build their own family. They will start building their primary families, that's their mother's houses and father's houses. That can also put pressure in a marital relationship and also lead to divorce. So let's be careful when we help our family members, when to draw the line and how much we need to help them, okay? Do not sacrifice what you're supposed to use to raise your children or build your family to then you give it to your own family. This can also happen to the other, to the man also. Raising your sisters or your brother's children instead of raising your own, or building houses for your brothers and sisters or your parents instead of building your own. That can easily lead to divorce. So let's be careful and be wise what is priority in our marriage and what is not. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take care of your family, but let's be conservative and be very, very careful when we do that. Number 10, lack of personal development. That's growth. All right, I have seen in so many situations, especially women. Women are going to school, and you see a man. This man didn't go to school, though. Now only secondary school, if to say the person even finished secondary school. And this woman will start studying and up to first degree, second degree, get masters, doctorate, and this man is just stagnant. At some point, people will start growing apart. Okay? Because the level of exposure is now different. And taste is going to change at some point. Again, it's not just on the female side. It can also happen in the male side. And this woman is just sitting in the house and the man is developing both financially, socially, educationally, climbing up the ladder, and the other spouse is just stagnant on one spot. Make sure that when you are growing, that your spouse is growing as well. Pull the other person along, because sometimes some people need some help, encouragement, while some people don't even need that. They just do it on their own. So please do not leave behind your spouse, because sometimes when that happens, you see that emotion will start growing apart, finances will start growing apart, social status will start growing apart, and that can also quickly lead to divorce. Number 11, the foundation of that marriage has a lot to do with how some marriages will last. Some people will just meet on the road. Before you know it, they'll go to court and sign papers. Marriage don't start. Without approval or concept, I know we are all adults, but again, you need to find out who is this person? Where is this person from? What's her family background like? What's his family background like? Don't just meet a person and you just run to the court and sign papers and you marry. Take time to know your spouse. Take time to know what the likes and the dislikes, the religious values, the cultural values, okay? Don't just meet somebody and just marry just like that. So foundation matters a lot. Even when somebody introduces you to your spouse, take time. It's your when introduction is done, now it's your own responsibility to know that person one-on-one, so that this can help your marriage to stand a test of time, okay? Again, what's your relationship with God? What's your value when it comes to marriage? What is God saying about marriage, okay? So there are so many things you need to do. Go to counseling. I don't know if you're a Christian, find a good pastor. Not all the pastors, though. Find a good pastor. Go to counseling. Know one-on-one what the Bible says about marriage and lay your foundation there, as well as your culture. Let that person know what your culture says about marriage. Not when you are in marriage already, you start telling this person about your culture. Sometimes the person might say, no, I can't take it to, me, I no fit. So make sure that all these things are being discussed, okay? How many kids you're gonna have when you will have kids, and other things where you will live. Don't just let everybody live in assumption, believing that, okay, we know. So again, have a thorough discussion and let it be the foundation of your marriage. Again, pray, and pray, because this world is not easy these days. The enemy is attacking families because the family is the foundation of this world. So that's why the enemy is attacking families. So if you see any marriage working, it's not like it's the grace of God. Yes, the grace of God is there, but they are putting their best to the best, okay? No marriage is made from heaven. Even when it's made from heaven, you still need to work on it, okay? Don't let your marriage fall through the crack. Don't let anybody walk into your marriage and mess it up. Know when to place boundaries. Even if they're your relatives, know when to place boundaries to protect your marriage if you really want that marriage, unless you don't want it, okay? Then you let people scramble all over you. But if you want it, know when to place boundaries and protect what you have. You need to fight for your marriage if you want it, okay? But again, there are times you can just do it. Let's say if the man is beating you up and down, there are times you cannot do it. If the man keeps on cheating without repenting, there are times you can no longer do it. So if the man doesn't want to be responsible enough, or the woman doesn't have to be responsible, and let me not say man, it goes both ways. So when this happens, there are times marriages are so irreconcilable. And again, ask for God's grace to keep you going. Thank you so much for listening to this brief message about divorce. I hope marriages work the way God intended them to work. That's my prayer for every marriage. But in other words, put your best to it. I love you guys. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Bye. Bye, guys.